John Crowley. I work on the Camp Roberts process, and we get to support projects like what Josh just described. If you've been to Camp Roberts, please raise your hand. You can look around the room and see how it's supported this. It's an innovation space. Right now, we're working on a deep problem. How do we connect the top down and the bottom up, the grassroots and government? Right now, as we talk with agencies, there's a huge challenge in how to do this. Let me give you 4 issues that are emerging. First, in law, we're seeing issues where agencies, both US and EU, are having trouble trying to connect with the crowd. There are issues around privacy. There are issues around information quality and what can be released. And last, among our volunteers, liability issues are going from the invisible to the visible. Trust in data. We're seeing agencies are asking how to verify citizen-generated data. They're also asking about trust in processes. Can they trust and rely on the processes from the VTCs? And we're seeing trust in people. How do we bring military and intel agencies, as we had to do with OpenStreetMap, into this space? Security, where the Arab Spring and Anonymous have changed the context in which we work. We are no longer in a place where we can secure all the voices that are entering the system. How do we begin to work on this? How do we know what's going on? Voice. There are emerging issues in crisis mapping tools that could create a bigger collective capacity than we've ever had in human history. But what happens when that gets ahead of government? What happens when that gets ahead of the humanitarian response and citizens are able to coordinate faster than we can? The issues that I hear as I go and talk with agencies is how can we control this? The bad news is you can't. The good news is I think we can begin to look at a way that we can coordinate across this space, but we are going to need to reimagine it. We need to step out beyond the bureaucracies which are largely meant to have information flow up and decisions flow down. We need to figure out how do we enable billions of connected nodes to coordinate with themselves across space and time in real time. Now, one of the things that we need to do here, and Robert brought this up, is how do we create a safe space to fail, where we can experiment with the new methods in a way that is not going to disrupt actual operations. We've created such a space. It's called Camp Roberts, research and experimentation for local and international first responders, where we can crash UAVs, where we can look and see how ways we can bring in all the players in the ecosystem around a shared problem. Now, how do we do this? Really, what we try and do is we try and issue challenges. We run a synergy operation where we take a shared problem in a space and try and bring the players together around it. We facilitate the exploration of technology and practice along with the law and security. And we also, in the process, try and integrate all the voices that we can. As Josh mentioned, one of the challenges we tried to confront was how do we repeat Haiti? Now, this required bringing together a range of actors who are not traditionally in the same space. So as we did this, we came up with a process, as Josh just repeated, where we got everyone together in a space, started working through a process where we could create a place to fail. We worked over the course of about 18 months, repeatedly hitting against walls, mostly legal and mostly policy, and then banging through them as a team. There was a success, which Josh just showed. We have a pilot which shows that the process could possibly work. Now, as we go through this, how do we get this into a new space, and how do we use this method again and again for new problems? Well, FEMA gave us that opportunity. They came to us and asked, can we do this again, but look at the tornadoes? There were 300 touchdown points for the Alabama tornadoes. After 5 days, we discovered where they were, but the Civil Air Patrol had actually taken them on day 1. Could we make this useful? So we brought together Civil Air Patrol, the Geeks Without Bounds, OpenStreetMap, FEMA, NGA, many of the team who was a part of the OpenStreetMap team, and began to, or the original workflow process, and brought them together. We had a success. We again did this by bringing the folks all into the room and brought together a new workflow. It was used during Isaac, 2 weeks after we built it. And we will have some SOPs that are coming out and some real lessons learned from Isaac. Based on this, how do we begin to think about scaling this type of operation? Could we take this into all of the other agencies that are out there, UN agencies? Could we take this into other countries and disaster management agencies and use this type of innovation process? We think so. And in fact, we're going to try and use the TIDES multi-institutional model of building partnerships to work with things like the Open Humanitarian Initiative. Can we take this to the Philippines and Indonesia and begin to build innovation spaces in other places that allow us to solve local context? So let me come to my ask. Ultimately, building this process of bringing people together into a safe space requires taking the wisdom from the old ways and embedding them in the new so that we can confront new challenges. But in that, how is it that we can get a human race, which is now better connected than any in history, to be able to work together and communicate and coordinate to heal itself? I think many of the alumni in the room have shown this could be done. And I think many of you are going to come together and start not only doing the important, but the impossible. Thank you.